This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hundreds of people impacted by a wildfire on Vancouver Island have power again after being left in the dark for nearly 2 weeks. Also,
in that year, we haven't seen any new bus lanes put in.
advocates say the city of Vancouver needs to work faster to improve transit services after council voted last summer to install new bus lanes on its busiest routes. And
when that trophy was touched by Messi, Maradona.
Be so close to the trophy is so beautiful.
excitement is building as soccer fans get a rare chance to check out the FIFA World Cup trophy in Vancouver. Hello, thanks for joining us. Power has been restored for hundreds of residents on Vancouver Island after the Mount Underwood wildfire caused extensive damage to infrastructure outside Port Alberni. More than 500 people living in Bamfield, the Huayat First Nation and Dididat First Nation had been without electricity for nearly 2 weeks. BC Hydro says crews have now put in 63 new poles and 65 new power lines along a 6-kilometer stretch, some of which was challenging steep terrain. The province says Bamfield Road remains closed due to unsafe conditions, and there is no timeline for when it will reopen. The BC Wildfire Service says the Mount Underwood fire is being held at 35 square kilometers in size. It is one of about 60 wildfires burning in BC. Dozens of people gathered in Surrey tonight to protest the sudden closure of Fraser Downs Racetrack.
We're just hoping for a miracle that we can change the politics of this disastrous decision.
Last week, the City of Surrey announced it would not be renewing its lease with Great Canadian Entertainment, which owns and operates the track. Mayor Brenda Locke says the land will be folded into the city's broader redevelopment plans, which includes new housing, a $3 billion hospital, new cultural facilities, and expanded recreation amenities. Among the group of protesters, members of the local harness horse racing industry who say they are concerned about the future of their livelihoods. The track is BC's only standard-bred racing facility and has been a fixture in Cloverdale since 1976.
Brenda Locke's got no idea. You're going to develop this. It's going to take 2-3 years to get permits. We could have raced for another 2 years at least. They should have given the horsemen a little bit of warning.
Earlier this year, Fraser Downs faced uncertainty following the closure of its stables to deal with a long-standing rat infestation. No horses have been stabled at the track since late May, but workers and trainers had held out hope for a September return. With Fraser Downs now closed, Hastings Racecourse in Vancouver is BC's only remaining track. A year after Vancouver City Council pledged to fast-track new bus lanes on its busiest routes, not a single corridor has been completed. As Sohrab Sandhu reports, transit riders and advocates say they're frustrated the city has made little progress.
These transit advocates say rapid bus lanes are urgently needed along busy routes, like here on East 49th Avenue in Vancouver.
There's 34,000 people a day that take a bus on this corridor. That's twice as many people as Via Rail Canada. It's one of the busiest routes in the region.
The route is one of 9 priority corridors identified by Vancouver City Council more than a year ago. In July 2024, the council unanimously passed a motion to speed up transit services with a commitment to complete at least 2 bus lanes per year starting in 2025. But Agar says no new bus lanes have been installed.
We're really trying to urge Vancouver to move faster, allocate more staff to this, and just do this really quickly.
In a statement, the City of Vancouver says it has been working closely with TransLink and Coast Mountain Bus Company to plan bus priority improvements. It goes on to say the designs of each corridor requires thoughtful analysis, which involves consultation with key stakeholders and interest groups like nearby businesses. This ABC Vancouver City Councillor says work is well underway.
The intention is to see an improvement of 10% in quicker bus travel times by 2026 on 4 of those priority corridor routes that we identified.
But the group says the city needs to move faster as the lack of dedicated bus lanes is causing chronic overcrowding, leading to delays and ultimately unreliable services for thousands of people who take transit every day.
It's frustrating that the bus gets stuck in traffic. It really discouraged people from taking the public transit more.
Among the group rallying Saturday, One City Vancouver councillor Lucy Maloney.
Clearly, bus lanes are not a priority for the majority on council. So the ABC majority on council needs to make sure that they're looking after the people that take transit all over our city.
Agar says bus lanes can be implemented quickly, are a cheap and efficient investment and will benefit all road users by cutting down on congestion as Vancouver continues to densify. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Vancouver.
Excitement surrounding the 2026 FIFA World Cup is ramping up with just 10 months to go until the big soccer event. Earlier today, fans got a rare chance to see the World Cup trophy in person at Jackpool Plaza before it heads to East Vancouver next week. Take a look.
So shiny, so beautiful. To be so close to the trophy is so beautiful.
Knowing that that trophy was touched by Messi, Maradona.
I really want and hope Ghana comes, and it means the cup is going to Ghana. It means our life. We play it everywhere.
There's no religion, there's no political kind of beliefs. It's just football.
It's part of life, it's our culture, it's our identity.
I'm so proud to be here and to receive all the people that is coming.
We're going to cheer for Canada.
Colombia, because of course I want Ghana to come. But unfortunately I'm wearing the 3 lions. I don't know why.
Let's get ready for the World Cup and let's enjoy football.
A group of Indigenous youth are spending the weekend stepping into the boots of firefighters. As Shoria Chethri reports, organizers say it's an opportunity to show young people that firefighting can be a viable and meaningful career path.
Breaking down a locked door with an axe and a crowbar. Not a typical Saturday morning, but for these young Indigenous students, it's a chance to spark an interest in firefighting.
This is like my first station. Right now we're breaking down the door, which is super cool. I'm kind of just here for the experience, and maybe I'll see if I want to do a career in firefighting.
The camp is led by Vancouver firefighter Matthias Ballantyne, a member of the Mississipauga Cree Nation. He says many Indigenous youth don't realize this career is even an option.
I definitely didn't think that this was something for me, that you don't see your uncles or cousins or family members part of this, so you don't think it's an option for you.
There's stiff competition getting into Vancouver Fire Rescue Services. Sometimes there's more than 1,200 applicants vying for just 16 job openings. That's why this camp focuses on building skills early. Here they practice moving while wearing the full uniform, air tanks, hoses, and axes, about 22 kilograms in total.
Yeah, how does it feel?
Kind of easy.
Many of the trainers are Indigenous firefighters in training who once stood where these students are now.
Being a part of these weekend programs, it's something that really made me realize my dream and something to aspire to when I was older.
Beyond the technical side, trainers also want to pass on their love for the profession and the spirit of service that drives them.
I just fell in love with the culture of the fire department, the family aspect, and giving back to my community, really. To have a career helping people. You know, I just want to get out there and help as many people as I can.
The hope is that passion will inspire more Indigenous youth and maybe turn a weekend workshop into a lifelong calling. Shauri Chetri, CBC News, Vancouver.
A totem pole is making its way from Vancouver to northern BC back to where it belongs. As Janella Hamilton reports, delegates from the Nisga'a Nation came together to bless the pole before it started the journey.
The families used to live along the Nass River. Their poles, their story, their beings were in front of the longhouses of the family.
A delegation of Nisga'a people from Lac Lazap in northern BC was at the UBC Museum of Anthropology this month to bless one of its own, a carved wooden pole that was taken from a family more than a century ago is now being returned.
When anything of value is being moved and is sacred, we would bless, and having the blessing really helped out. Not only the pole, but it also helped the family.
The pole will make the journey to Lac Lazap in late September. The blessing includes wiping the pole and its metal encasing down with cedar boughs. It ensures it safely reaches its home.
It's important to the family because it reminds us, and it'll be a constant reminder of where we came from, who we are.
The Haldanes are the descendants of the family the pole was taken from. The previous Samagat, which is the Nisga'a word for chief, was Hubert Haldane, and his Nisga'a name was La. Moore says Haldane saw the pole 2.5 years ago in a museum exhibit. After embracing it, he said it needed to return home now. Talk started, but he died before he could see his plans accomplished. His title and name passed to his younger brother Bruce, who is finishing what was started. Moore says carved poles aren't just pieces of wood. They tell your family story, so they're part of your family and are living beings. When the pole was blessed, it was the first time in over a century it heard the language and songs of home. And that's when it awakened.
As the pole was being blessed, I was standing beside it, as well as Samagat La. And I looked down, and I thought it was a hallucination or something, but it appeared that the pole was breathing, just similar to a human being, with the stomach raised and lowered as it breathed. And the power that it appeared to have had, and not only I, but a number of other people that were in at the time felt the presence.
The pole will be raised at the museum in Lac Lazap on September 29th. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
A Kamloops restaurant owner has broken records for continuous cooking while standing. The owner of Afrofusion cooked countless plates of food for 300 hours straight, all for a good cause.
Let's go shopping. My name is Zainab Oladipo. I'll be taking on the Guinness World Record attempt for the longest cooking marathon. I'm cooking around the clock, a minimum of 22 hours. Onions, ginger, and garlic is very common in all, like most African food, especially red onions. So this is good. So the standing record is 140 hours, and I'm going for 300 hours.
Hello, how is it going? Good. You cold?
Yeah.
How many hours have you been cooking for?
Currently we are at 92 hours.
You look exhausted. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling exactly how I look. I'm tired, but I'm going.
How many hours or days do you have left to cook for?
I don't know how many days, but I know it's I know it's 208 more hours. So these are puff puffs. It's delicious, which you will try and testify to. And every time, aside from when you go for a break, you have to be cooking or working on a dish. So once you have something on fire, you have to be either working on the next dish. There's no stop for another 45 hours. Each day we have 24 dishes from 24 countries.
I feel like when this is all over, you're never going to want to cook again.
I don't think so. You know why? Because I'm not cooking the same thing. I'm cooking every hour. I'm cooking something different. I'm telling you, I've taken a class in geography just in this kitchen, and I'm learning a lot. So I feel like it's an adventure every time I start.
Fresh off an announcement that he will drop most counter tariffs on U.S. goods, Canada's Prime Minister has flown to Europe to shore up trade and security ties in the region. That's next. Stay with us. Ukraine is the focus of a European trip starting today by Mark Carney. It's his fourth there since taking office. The CBC's Evan Dyer looks at this trip's agenda.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has just landed here in Poland at the start of a 5-day tour of Central and Eastern Europe. And this visit is, of course, very much about the Ukraine war. It's about sending a message that Canada remains committed to Ukraine and also believes that Ukraine should be involved in any discussions about its future, that those kinds of issues should not be decided, for example, in bilateral talks between the United States and Russia. That's a position that Canada shares with the European allies that will be visited during this trip, Germany, Poland, and Latvia. Here, of course, in Poland, this is a country that has become quite a close ally of Canada in recent years. Prime Minister Trudeau was here already once this year in January, and it's one of the countries he most visited during his time in office. Prime Minister Carney will be meeting with the Prime Minister and President of this country, which has a somewhat divided government. Those two men frequently at odds, including over the issue of Ukraine. But there's also going to be an effort here to negotiate new commercial contracts potentially. We don't expect to see anything signed, but to open opportunities for more military and other commercial trade between Canada and Poland. He'll then go on to Germany, where again the focus is commercial, selling critical minerals to German industry and potentially also energy, and finally wrap up with a visit to Canadian troops in Latvia as part of Operation Reassurance, where a Canadian brigade is based close to the border with Russia. Evan Dyer traveling with the Prime Minister in Poland.
Ukraine is marking its Independence Day this weekend. It comes as Donald Trump's push for direct peace talks between Ukraine and Russia continues to fail to gain any traction. Briar Stewart reports.
Ukraine commemorated its National Flag Day on Saturday ahead of tomorrow, which is when it will mark Independence Day. As for the ongoing peace talks, there appears to be very little progress. U.S. President Donald Trump had proposed a meeting between the president of Ukraine and the president of Russia. One has not been set up yet, and it appears that one isn't even close. While Russia claims it's open to a meeting, Russian officials have also outlined all the reasons why they don't think one can happen just yet. Other conversations are going on. Volodymyr Zelensky spoke on the phone with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands today, Dick Schoof. He also spoke on the phone with Cyril Ramaphosa, the leader of South Africa. He said he thought the global South had more of a role to play when it came to putting pressure on Russia. Now, when it comes to putting additional pressure on Russia, Trump has mused about potentially rolling out more sanctions against Russia in 2 weeks' time if there isn't progress towards a ceasefire or a peace deal. But Trump has talked about this before. And it's also important to note that when Trump talked about potentially rolling out sanctions, he also said that he might choose to do nothing at all and to simply say it's not the U.S.'s fight. Now, for Ukrainians and certainly for those who've been displaced from the east and the south where fighting is ongoing, there's just a lot of exhaustion and skepticism, really, that these talks could go anywhere. Everybody wants to see some kind of negotiated settlement, but Ukrainians say they do not want to cede any territory.
This war must be stopped, but these talkings between our President Zelensky, and between Putin, maybe with other leaders of other countries. We mustn't give our territories to Russia.
After 3.5 years of living and fighting through Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukrainians are desperate to see this war end, but many of them have difficulty envisioning just how a peace deal would work. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Kyiv.
A look at some beautiful brown bears catching salmon in Katmai National Park in Alaska. I'll have your full forecast coming up next. All right, we had some major heat today, and let's see if that sun is sticking around with a look at our forecast. Let's begin with a quick look at the current temperatures around the province tonight. Clear across the province and double digits in Kamloops, 13 overnight, and 15 in Victoria, 14 in Tofino overnight. Lots of sun for tomorrow. Fort St. John, 29 is your expected high, and sunny. Williams Lake, a mix of sun and clouds and a high of 29. And Kamloops and Kelowna both sitting around 35 degrees for tomorrow. On the island, Victoria, a mix of sun and clouds and a high of 28. A little cooler in Tofino with a high of 25 for tomorrow. And here in Metro Vancouver, 24 is our high for Sunday. That temperature appears to be sticking around for the next couple of days until Wednesday, when we're dipping ever so slightly to 23. The Vancouver Whitecaps won their match against St. Louis City earlier tonight thanks to a penalty kick from Thomas Mueller in the 14th minute of second half stoppage time.
From the spot at the death, yes! Mueller puts Vancouver on top. It's 3-2.
This was Mueller's first start and second appearance with the Whitecaps since coming over from Germany's Bayern Munich. The Whitecaps trying to make the postseason 3 years in a row for the first time, are third in the Western Conference with 7 matches remaining. The Whitecaps return to league play on September 13th when they host the Philadelphia Union. That is your late news for this Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. For news at any hour, you can always head to our website at cbc.ca/BC. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.